Welcome to Best You Discussion and welcome to my office. This is where I do most of my pondering and pontification on certain elements that transpire in this world. And more importantly, welcome to our martini time. I hope you enjoy the martini light. You know, we live in interesting times, dynamic times, and we hope that you're receiving exactly what you deserve. Now, here are some things we ask you to do. First, like our Facebook page. That's important to us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put the YouTube channel there just for you. Visit our website. That's bestyouguru.com. Send us an email to bestyouguru@yahoo.com and sign up to receive the Best You blogs. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you like. Tell your friends that you like us, but use our email system to give us some ideas of what you want to hear about. Now we're going to ask for donations. And people say, but Harry, why are you giving this away for free? Why is your YouTube channel for free? Why do you send out a blog for free and then ask for donations? It's very simple. I ask those of you that can help support us by sending in donations. But I don't think you should monetize helping anyone. If you can afford to pay for this advice, if you find this that we help your life, we ask you to send in a donation if you are able. If you're able to help others, we do this to help people, not to make a fortune. But we need your support. Don't leave it to the person that can't afford it. Don't leave it to the other person to support you. So send your donations via Venmo or PayPal. Using Venmo, it's Venmo at Robin-Shidry. Or you can use PayPal by sending it to bestyouguru@yahoo.com. Venmo or PayPal. We ask you to give what you can, donate what you can to help support our mission. If you can't, please take our advice. Please use the YouTube channel. Please send us an email and ask for help that we can provide, because we are here to help you. You know, in previous discussions, we talked basically and primarily about the authentic identity theory. And there's a reason. It's backed by science and empirical research. Our work here is to enlighten you as to your greatness you were born with. You have a unique greatness that we want to help you live your potential. It's that simple. But let me start by saying, tonight we're here to stop the bullshit. You know, I have a brilliant son-in-law, and I want to give him credit. Jordan taught me this, that he says, Harry, one of the things that you help me with is at understanding things. He says he was taught history. We are taught facts and figures. We were taught of the wars. He was taught the dates and the battles and the leaders. But he never learned much of the why of the war or the aftermath of the war. Only dates and battles. He said the reason most people don't know of their greatness is education or the lack of. He said people are being allowed to take pathways that destroy them and those around them. So thanks to Jordan, we're going to take a little veer off our normal authentic identity and focus on educating you as to why we live in perilous times and why so many people seem to be living lives that are unfulfilled. We should know the perils that we face, but more importantly, we should know who we should listen to. The guy at the end of the bar is not normally the expert on subject matters that will enhance your life. The loudest voice on social media may be a social influencer, but they're not always your friend. The bully on the playground cares little about anything other than their own ego. The bully on the playground will bully anybody that doesn't know their own greatness, that doesn't realize their own strength, and that person that allows the bully to be a bully. So we're here to stop the bullshit and hopefully we can help fertilize those ideas within you and your inherent greatness. Our topic tonight is beware simple solutions to complex problems. And this is the first of a two-part discussion. I ask you that you take notes and do some research so that you can validate what I'm about to tell you is truthful and factual. Don't take me just for the guy at the end of the bar. American wages have not kept pace with the cost of living. Easily verifiable. The Economic Policy Institute tells us that the U.S. middle class had $17,867 less income in 2007 because of the growth of equality since 1979. Easily verifiable. Do it. Research it. From 1973 to 2013, hourly compensation of a typical worker, the non-production or the non-supervisory production work, that typical worker's wage rose 9%, while productivity increased 74%. All during our quote-unquote economic education, we've been told that as productivity increases, so will wages. Well, wages have increased 9% and your productivity 74%. Workers produced more, but typical workers' pay lagged behind. Two things stand out. First is the rapid growth of annual wages for the top 1% compared with everyone else. The top 1% wages grew 138%, while the wages of the bottom 90% grew just 15%. Secondly, middle class wages stagnated. Middle class workers, the hourly wage is up 6% since 1979. Low wage workers are down 5%, while those at the very top, the very high wage earners, saw an increase of 41%. Why does all that matter? Because these are facts that influence your life. Not theory, not some guy at the end of the bar, not some social media pundit, but these are facts that determine your life. The share of young college graduates who have employer-sponsored health insurance fell 61% from 1989 to 31% by 2012. Tremendous difference. In 1965, the CEOs, the typical CEO, made 20 times what the typical worker made. That's in 1965. Today, the typical CEO earns 300 times the typical worker. 1965, 20 times the typical worker. Today, 300 times the typical worker. Meanwhile, your productivity went up 74%. The minimum wage would be over $18 per hour if it had ridden along with the increase of productivity. American manufacturing has gone to other countries because of our choices, because of America's choices. American manufacturing went overseas. Economic inequality is at a dangerously high level. There's a great book I ask everyone to read. It's called The Price of Inequality. And guess what? It wasn't written by a TV pundit. It wasn't written by the guy at the end of the bar. It was written by a Nobel Prize winning economist. Someone that has an opinion worthy of listening to. Again, the book is called The Price of Inequality. You know, America has tremendous wealth. We do. We are the richest country in the world. But almost 30% of our children live in poverty and suffer food insecurity. The richest country in the world, and 30% of our children face food insecurity. We should be ashamed. Most Americans are 1 or 2 paychecks away from poverty. In the richest country in the world, America today, in this quote unquote, what the politicians want to claim as the greatest economy in history, America has the highest debt in history. Debt is not great economy. Over $27 trillion of government debt. And that's on the U.S. debt clock. That wasn't from the guy at the end of the bar or even me. That's verifiable information. U.S. total debt, not just the government debt, but total debt is over $82 trillion. Debt doesn't matter until it becomes payable. The debt to GDP. GDP is the gross domestic product, which is the total sum of all goods and services of what we produce. Our debt to our GDP is 128%. That means that we spend 128% to what we earn. Is that sustainable? Is that the greatest economy in history? My friends, this is not the greatest economy in history. If you're having trouble getting ahead, it may be because the field that you're playing on. The politicians, the bully on the playground, the political pundits, the loudest voice on social media, those who tweet at every outburst, at every time they have a thin skin penetrate that thin ego of theirs, those against capitalism tell us to look at the stock market. The stock market is not Main Street America. Those numbers do not directly relate to Main Street. They don't help you pay your mortgage. They don't feed your family. Those indices don't really help you. Allow me to give you an example. 10 people work for a small company, Get You Some. The company Get You Some employs 10 people. 9 employees earn $30,000 a year. $30,000 a year, 9 of them earn. 1 employee earns $600,000 per year. Got that? 9 employees earn $30,000. 1 employee earns $600,000. Now the owner of the company goes on some news network, gives an interview on the evening news, and claims the average employee at Get You Some earns $87,000 per year. And all the viewers are going, wow, that is tremendous. The average employee at Get You Some earns $87,000 per year. That's a company everyone should work for. So my friends, this is Wall Street. One employee earns $600,000 a year, but 90% earn $30,000 a year. Averages are misleading and often used in a dangerous lie. Economics is more than numbers. It tells a story of culture, empathy, passions, and priorities. That's what economics is. It tells the story of a people. Let me provide you an example how a lie can mislead. This may just change your view, your idea, your conception of what is taking place around you today. President Ronald Reagan, the hero of one political party. President Ronald Reagan, in the fall of the Soviet Union, ushered in an era of globalism. Is it good? I don't know. Is it bad? I don't know. I will leave it to you. The Soviet Union collapsed for two primary reasons. Not because Ronald Reagan said, tear down the wall. The Soviet Union collapsed because of glasnost and perestroika. Glasnost was a government policy of openness and transparency. Perestroika was the political and economic agenda of Mikhail Gorbachev. The Soviet Union under Mikhail Gorbachev tried to reform the Soviet Union to make it more democratic, to put in place a form of capitalism that would help the poorest in the Soviet Union. He wanted to be the reformer that brought prosperity and openness to the Soviet Union. He had been to America and liked what he saw. So he wanted to bring some of the changes to his people. The problem, the Soviet people, the Soviet institutions were not ready for such a tremendous change. You see, change is difficult. Even change for the better is difficult. People like their comfort. They like the sameness. Capitalism and democracy requires people to assume responsibility. If you want to lose democracy, if you want to lose capitalism, don't vote. Don't participate. Well, the people in the Soviet Union at that time were not used to participation. These changes were too much, too soon. The Soviet Union collapsed because the people did not know how to participate. They did not know how to assume control. They were used to listening to the guy at the end of the bar, to the loudest pundit, the voice on their media, and assuming they had a little control. This collapse of the Soviet Union had little to do with America. America did not bring the Soviet Union to its knees. I don't care what the political pundits tell you. It's easily researched. But you got to read a book or two to know it. It is just political propaganda to assume that we brought the Soviet Union to its knees. But how did America react? That's the true measure of this story. Here's the true lie. The break of the Soviet Union presented global opportunities, and American companies took advantage of a global economy. The fall of the Soviet Union opened up a vast array of opportunities. American companies began to look around the world for cheap products and cheap production. They began focusing on short-term profitability. For those of you old enough to remember, companies used to be gauged on yearly financial plans, but quarterly profits quarterly returns began to take precedence. Americans began to witness the rise, once again, of the stock market. But now we begin to focus on short-term profitability, with quarterly results being the new measure of success. Pleasing Wall Street replaced customer and employee satisfaction. Manufacturing moved to Asia. Manufacturing moved to where the labor was cheaper. A pursuit of cheaper began the destruction of the American economic ecosystem. The era of American companies no longer making components for their devices began. A pursuit of cheaper. The pursuit of cheaper. The lure of short-term profitability is seductive. And we began to fall into the trap of that seduction. Inequality has been that price. Now, we just presented some facts and truths. We presented you facts that can be researched. You should be concerned about your future and your place in it. In order for you to live authentically, you must know what surrounds you. You must absorb yourself in the truth. For you to live your authentic identity and express your greatness, you must understand the environment that surrounds you, and you must love who you are. Connect to the real you and live your greatness. Now, this is the first part of a 2-part program of Stopping the Bullshit. So I ask you to stay tuned for part 2, and we will further examine why what you're being told about globalism and inequality, and why the rich claim they deserve to be rich, and why CEOs make so much more than they did in previous decades. So please stay tuned and embrace your greatness. Namaste.